Hey guys, and welcome to the water and air events of the Playing Crazy Olympics. So if you didn't watch the first part of the Olympics, it's a kind of a long video, but I'll put it on the top right of your screen right now. And if you just want to have a basic understanding of how we got to this point, or just kind of look and see if your country did well in the ground events, then you should definitely go look there before I spoil it to you in a few seconds. And in a few seconds, I mean right now. So here are the standings after the ground events. So as you can see, Team USA out in the lead by a lot, up by 4 on Australia, and Australia does not have anybody here today. They actually had to do their events beforehand, and they did not do too strong in them. So Australia might be out of the question. But there are a lot of people here today that are willing to try to catch up to Team USA as best they can. But we'll see how that goes. And I guess we get right into it with the first event of water stunt jumping. So if you guys are confused on how this is going to work, essentially for the water stunt jumping, they're going to have 3 jumps, and I'm going to be showing you guys probably, you know, the best jumps out of all of them. So you're not even going to get to see every single country's jump, just because last time the video was so long, and this time I want to shorten it and only show you guys the best parts of it. But basically, they can jump off of any of these ramps they want here, and they're going to be doing a trick in the air, and hopefully they can try to land on their, right side up. And if they land into the gravel or land somewhere they're not supposed to, they can get that jump back if they want. But the best jump will stand. Right now, Team Australia is in the lead with a jump of 7.5. It was a very solid jump. They did a lot of flips in the air and a lot of stuff like that. But the landing was a little rough, so that's why they got that score. So right now, let's get it ready and let's get started. Looks like people did not practice for this event, which is the reason why this event's going to be so short in the video. I'm not going to show all the jumps because some people just decided to build really shite builds. But let's see what One Will can do. He tries to do a flip and he dives into the water. All right, well, that will count as a jump. I know he didn't land straight up, but the way he dived into the water was enough to make it look like it was intentional. So I'll give him a 4 for that jump. I see doing some little practice jumps over there. See if Dan the Man can keep it under control this time. Hits the air. Did he land? And he did land. Not very clean, but it definitely is good enough to give him a 5. So he's going to need better than that, and I think he's capable of better than that. But I think there's also a lot of RNG that goes into this. Maybe the water stunt jumping isn't their event, because you can see they have some stability issues, and I definitely think that in between jumps here, they definitely are going to want to make some changes to that boat. But they're actually going to hit the ramp this time. 360. Did it come out on top? And it did! And they may have flung off the map at the end, but a very solid jump, and I'm going to have to give them that with a solid 6. Up next, we have Icy from Team China, and I guarantee you this will probably be the first jump that's actually pretty good, because Icy, you know, despite them maybe not being the greatest builder in the history of Playing Crazy, they definitely know how to make things work. And they proved that in the last Olympic Games because they put together some pretty good builds for different events. They just sadly wasn't enough to get it done. You know, they were always like in that top 5 mix for a lot of different events. Let's see if they can land this here. And they do! Very solid trick right there. And they did a little bit of a 360 out of the water. That's good enough for me to give them a 6. Dan the Man going slow. Like he should, being slow, being cool and collected. Can he land it? Yes, he can! Not a very clean landing, but that's also good enough for a 6. Here comes Man from Cuba. We're going to watch from behind them this time. Follow them up the ramp. They lose the pontoons to gain extra speed. They go for a flip. Do they come out on top? Yes, they do! A solid jump, but it was not the cleanest landing on the planet, and I'm going to be giving them another 6. As they come into frame, let's see, are they going to deliver a big jump this time? Or are they going to try to keep it simple? Keeping it simple, and a nice little 360. And because it was so clean, I'm going to give them a 6.5, which puts Team Germany in the lead. Very clean jump, landed the right way. Very impressive overall. I definitely like that jump, it was pretty cool. So PA is going to get turned around, and let's see what he can do. PA trying to make up for it last time. I know he went for some big air on the last jump, but I didn't get to see exactly what happened. He goes for a big flip. Can he land it? He lands into a dive, and is he going to come straight up? Yes, he does! Very solid jump, and with that one, I think that's another 6.5. We might have to do some extra jumps, because we have so many people with 6.5s and ties. He just did so many flips in the air, and he ended up landing it as if it was like a reverse dive. I know that's not what he was intending to do, but it definitely looked really cool, and I think that's going to win some points with me. Up next, we have Icy from Team China, who've been practicing the entire time. I wonder if they're going to try to do a triple jump, or they're going to go for the main jump. They can also reset themselves and get themselves in whatever position they want. I don't mind. But, let's see what they decide with here, as this could be their final jump. And currently, they are not in podium position. Well, they're tied for position. They make it over the first jump. Do a trick over the second jump. Very cool trick. That's going to win points with me. Do a full flip. Oh my, this is a really good run from them. Can they land the last trick? Oh, but it was still very, very good. And that's going to give them a 6.5 jump, which puts them definitely in podium position. Editor's note, this jump from Team China should have won gold, but for some reason I'm stupid and they got robbed of a gold medal here. Sorry about that. Alright, so here we have Australia getting lined up. We're trying to give you some aerial footage here of the pit. Now, let's see what type of jump that they can pull off. Goes up, goes for the front flip maneuver, but he actually landed it. It wasn't clean, it wasn't pretty, but he landed a jump, and to me, that's a solid 6.5. So, here he goes for his second jump, and let's see if maybe he pulls out a barrel roll. I don't know what he's going to pull off this time, but I think it might be barrel roll time. We'll see if it goes for another front flip. But, let's see what he does. Barrel roll, and lands it. Wasn't pretty. Definitely did some spinning in the water, and he's going to lose some points for that. But the barrel roll seemed much more controlled than the other one, and that's going to score him a score of 7.5. Alright, Dan the Man. Representing Team South Africa that desperately needs points. Let's get an angle like this. He's going to go for maybe a big jump this time. And we're going to go from a far out shot because it looks like that's what he's going to do. And he just goes for a relatively long jump that ended with really nothing special there. Looks like he's going for the big jump. I respect it. This man has some massive cojones. But let's see, can he do anything special with it? Big jump. And does he come out correctly? Yes, he does. Alright, so for the next tiebreaker, we have a three-way tie between Melty, PA Plays, and Icy. We'll jump again. And if they could land that final jump, or just get the jumps to be consistent, they're going to win so many points with me with that. Oh, PA actually flies over the drone. And I might have interfered with his jump there. Can he even land it? No. Wait, does he actually, wait, did he land it? Oh, he did land it. Very good jump, and he actually had to avoid the drone. My drone was parked in the bad spot. I forgot how much air he was going to get. But he did land the jump. And that's going to be hard to beat. Maybe the other teams can get lucky. Because if they screw up any of this, they might be in a world of hurt. And they do a 180. They might have to skip a ramp. And they're going to have to skip a ramp. That's losing points with me. They're going to have to wow me with the last two tricks here. Go for a big trick. Does a dive. Can they come back out on top? No. And it looks like their day might be done. They finished second to last in the long jump. And the drag race did not treat them too well either. But can they land it? Yes, they can. It was a very good landing, but I'm not sure. Do I give it to them or do I give it to PA Plays in South Africa? It's going to be a hard decision, and I'll have to figure it out. Alright, so here we have it. Team Australia gets the gold, and hopefully their jump is actually able to be shown in the video. I know I recorded them beforehand, but I don't know if that recording actually was able to stay. But I hope it was because it was so good, and it puts them that much closer to Team USA, as they're only down by one medal on them. So, we'll see how that all unfolds. Here are the standings after this event. As you can see, Team South Africa and Team Germany also getting their first medals throughout these entire Olympics so far. So congratulations to them. You're making your countries proud. Anyways, let's move on to the next event, which is the water drag race. So, a little bit of an editor's note here before we get into the water drag race. The water drag race absolutely was just awful. It was not entertaining, so I'm going to show you guys video from it. I'm just going to show you guys the race, and it'll be a side-by-side because I wanted to put Australia's race next to everyone else racing just because there was only 2 competitive boats, and as you can guess, Australia was one of those boats. So, roll the tape. So, on your mark, get set, go! And they are off, and Steamy leaving the rest of the pack in the dust. He's super stable, and we're going to see what the timer says for Team USA. He's across the line. And meanwhile, the rest of them having a misfire. So we're going to actually reset the race for the rest of these competitors and let them get a reset. Steamy, though, his time will still stand. So Steamy's time will stand, but the rest of them are going to have to reset due to their boats being so unstable and getting a bad launch. Alright, so I said there's going to be a second race, and there was a second race. Except it was so unentertaining and so unbelievably slow and bad that it will not be shown in the video. But, yeah, the person that got first in the second race, their time was 3 times slower than Steamy's time, and over 2 times slower than Yes Sir's time. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. Alright, so as you can see, we're still having the blacklisting problems. Only one person was able to get through the blacklist, and Team Australia wasn't able to show up. But as you can see, Team USA wins another thing in this Olympics, and it's just not close right now. I mean, I know Australia was getting closer with the last one, but if they keep stretching it out like this, there's no way Australia's going to be able to come back because they only have stunt flying left, and yeah, that's the only other event they have left. So, it's not looking too good for them. Alright, so the next event ended up being boat PvP, water fighting, whatever we were going to call it. But essentially, it was very, very long, and there was a lot of boring parts into it, so I cut all the exciting parts into a quick little montage. So, after that round, as you can see, we have, over in 4th place, we have Cuba, who had made their own little trash can to sit in. But you can see the other countries. Nigeria came in, getting their first medal in these Olympics. You had Team USA getting another medal, which brings them back into, well, they were already in the lead, but you know, they're just kind of stretching out their lead a little bit more, which is not what I love to see. But then you also have China also getting another medal in these Olympics. So, they are getting their first gold. So if you look at the standings right now, as you can see, Team USA still in the lead of Team Australia, and Australia is in a world of hurt because some of these events, like this one, they couldn't compete in because you actually have to have the people with you to be able to compete, and since they couldn't show up, they couldn't compete. So let's move on to the next event, which is the Air Racing 1v1. So in the Air Racing 1v1, the event was really nice. It's nicely set up. It was going to be a really fun event, but a lot of people didn't actually have legal planes when they showed up. And certain people tried to do the course, but they couldn't complete it due to their plane not handling well enough, or it just wasn't fast, or it just wasn't made for that event. So Icy got a free pass into the finals, and there's only going to be 2 races you guys are going to be able to see. Alright, so for the first race here, we're going to have Team USA versus Cuba. They're both set up, and let's see if both of them can get it together and put together some decent times here. Well, they're not actually going to be getting timed. It's actually more of a tournament format because depending on who you're racing might depend on how much contact you have with the other racers and that stuff around around this little track here. But on your mark, get set, go! Alright, let's see if either of them are smart enough to actually take the checkpoints. And it looks like Cuba so far kind of going around the outside of the checkpoints, which is exactly what they're supposed to do. If you can't hit the smoke precisely, then you just gotta fly around the outside of them, and they're doing just that. And can they come through and finish it? Oh no, they can't find the final checkpoint. The final checkpoint's between the it's on the floating island. It's on the floating island. You can't find it. And they're having issues. And there they go. They finished the race. And Team Cuba will move on to the next round. They left Team USA in the dust that time. They just could not find the final checkpoint. And it was really bad. They just started flying around. I think they got confused. But the final checkpoint is on the flying island. And all you have to do is fly by it. So we might have our first actually competent race here, as we have 2 competitors ready for the finals that both have good-looking planes. They're both fast. They both look like they can put on a show. So, I'm interested to see what happens between them. Now, I'm going to back up a little bit and get out of their way so they don't have to deal with me being all up in their grill. But, basically, guys, on your mark, get set, go! And they're off. And it looks like Man already off to a great start. But he skips a checkpoint there, and I think he missed it, but maybe I'll give it to him anyways, because it looked like he was too close. That one he definitely skipped. He needs to go back to that checkpoint. He needs to go back for the last checkpoint. He's so fast that he's having a hard time controlling. Both of these planes, though, both putting together a decent lap here. But it looks like no, he makes contact. He doesn't get to the last checkpoint, but it looks like he's going to come through and take it anyways. No, he misses the last checkpoint. And Icy flies underneath the floating island. Neither of them securing the dub yet. And there goes Man wins. Neither of them are able to keep together a very clean lap at the very end there. But in the end, Man brings home a gold for Team Cuba. Alright, so here we are at the podium, and as you can see, we're currently having some issues with people being blacklisted, even though I unblacklisted them because Playing Crazy servers sometimes do this. But as you can see, Team USA once again getting on the podium, and things are getting more dire for other countries now, as Team Australia is currently the only country now that has a chance to still beat them. All the other countries have no hope anymore. I think mathematically, I just don't think it's possible. So Team Australia is going to have to win stunt flying and hope that Team USA doesn't get on the podium in any of those if they still want to have a chance. I know maybe there's some other way. Maybe I haven't done the math correctly because I haven't really looked at it too intensely, but things aren't looking good for the other countries. But let's move on to the next event, which will be the dogfight. Editor's note for the dogfight here. It's basically just a 1v1v1. There was only 4 people competing in it. and they had to build a vehicle that cannot exceed 300 speed. Now, of course, Team USA broke that rule, but as you'll see, it didn't particularly matter. But basically, they were not very limited on what they could do. They were pretty much allowed whatever they wanted as long as they stayed under 300 speed and didn't use glitches. On your mark, get set, go. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to see what happens because there's so much scrap going on and they're going to be flying around so fast, but I'm expecting this drone to be targeted first, mainly because of what happened beforehand. I kind of had an issue with them. Didn't know if they were going to be, didn't know if I was actually going to allow it or if it was going to be within the rules. But as of right now, I mean, they're still holding their own weight, but they are going way faster than what the speed limit actually allows because that is way over 300 speed. But, they said it was 300 speed, so I took their word on it. And so far, none of the planes have dropped out of the sky. None of them actually able to land any hits on each other. But it looks like right there, the drone took some hits, and the drone is out. It's going to crash and burn, and it's going to fly down to the ground. So now the drone is out for sure. Now, let's take a look over here at see what's going on between Team Cuba and, I believe, Team China. So Team Cuba definitely has the smallest, most maneuverable build. It looks like they're going super, super fast. But in all reality, I think they're the same speed as everyone else. They're just going like 300 speed. But they're just super maneuverable. And the jet takes a big hit. But can the jet still fly? I don't know if it can. And Cuba... Actually, no, the jet's still flying. And the jet somehow showing that it was built to last here took a giant rocket shot to it. Now, where is the other planes from the other countries? I thought there was another plane up still. But apparently I'm wrong. I don't see it anywhere. And my camera's turning so slow, I can't even find where the action is. The action is somehow behind me. Oh, there's the other plane. It's in the air. It's just been kind of going away from it. I think that's Team Germany right there. They have not been fighting the entire time here. They've kind of been running away. And it looks like Team China's out. They've crashed into the ground. And Team Germany, they just took another shot, and they're on the ground. And if they can't still fly, then they're done. And it looks like Team Cuba might run away with another gold medal in the Olympics. And they do just that. So, Team Cuba runs away with the gold in the dogfight. Congratulations to Team Cuba. Alright, so we're going to go to the podium here, and I'm going to say that Cuba won 3 gold medals so far, which is just not the case. And I'm saying, like, oh, they could have, like, won these Olympics if they just would have done better in some of the water events, which I was just wrong. So just ignore what I say and just take a look at the standings whenever it's up there. Alright. Alright. So here we are at the podium, and some good news and bad news. So Cuba has absolutely torn through these Olympics today, putting together 3 golds, and it makes me wonder what could have happened if they could have shown up for the ground events. But here was another thing with them, is that if they could have somehow managed to medal in the water fighting and the water stunt jumping, which they were close to doing in the water stunt jumping, they came in 5th place in that, but they definitely had a very good, some very good tricks. They could be in position to win the Olympics, but sadly, no matter what happens, they can't do that anymore. Team USA is the only team that can win. So, here's the standings on your screen, and let's move into the final event, which is stunt flying, which is one of my favorites. Alright guys, so here we are, we're ready for the last event. At this point, it's all just for bragging rights because it doesn't really matter. But, as you can see, we're going to have IC going first from Team China, and their time starts whenever they want me to start it. So I just need to look in Roblox chat, and I need them to tell me when they want to start. And they have started. So let's see what Team China has in store for us right now. And I'm expecting big things. They're going for pretty much a vertical thing, and they're going to try to fall back down and then land it. Decent trick, but not much. Now they're starting to show some smoke coming out of it. Then they do a quick little turn. Interesting. Kind of confused on how they did that, which is confusing me. Is also another thing of way to score points, because if I don't know how you did something, well, then that means I can't do it for myself. And they fly underneath the propeller. You can see from their trails, they got very close to it. So so far, they are putting on quite the show, and as long as they don't fly into the propellers, they probably will be putting together quite the run here. They've definitely showed some cool tricks in the air, and let's see what they can do. Maybe they go in for a landing at the end, or maybe they go for a low pass on the ground. I'm interested to see what they do, but let's see what they do as they're going around the outside of the mountain. And what happened on the other side? They're coming up down top. 10 seconds left on the run. If they have any tricks left or anything they wanted to show, they got to get it done now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and they finish with a cool little 360. Alright, so we're going to be starting from a different perspective this time. We're actually watching the Discord stream of Team Cuba here, trying to go for the 4th gold medal, which I believe would be the most by any individual in this tournament so far. I could be wrong. But so far, they're not really impressing me too much. They're doing a lot of inverted stuff, which they're getting very close to the water here, and I can definitely like this. And if you're wondering why the quality's so bad, it's because I'm watching through their stream. This is what their computer can produce, and Discord does put a little bit of a limit on what they can do. Now, right now, they're kind of wasting a lot of time here. They're already halfway through the run, and so far, I'd be giving them like a 5. It was impressive what they did, but it wasn't much. And let's see if they can maybe maneuver here. And they run into a wall, not going to help their score. They're going to have to do something with the propellers here and have to cut some stuff close to the propellers for score, but they run into the base plate. 17 seconds left. Team Cuba not looking too hot here. A lot of hitting the ground. Maybe they can impress me here with some canyon stunts, but they run into the wall, and that would bring their run to an end. Alright, so here we are. We're on board with Team Germany, and once they get into the air, they can give us a signal on when they want to start. Cool looking plane, but it's going to be interesting to see how it ends out working. They're telling start, and we're starting the timer. So that was an interesting thing. They could have just said something on Discord, because the people at home can't hear them right now. And so far, it looks like they haven't done anything too impressive. They're showing a lot of speed, but they're also showing they're not the most stable build. And let's see what they can do here as they try to go underneath the propeller there. Did they lose any blocks? No, they did not lose any blocks. That's going to score some points with me. But they're going to have to do some very interesting stuff around those propellers. The propellers are something that a lot of people are going to go for because it requires so much skill not to get hit by them. Interesting aerial tricks here. But so far, only good enough for maybe a 5, I'd say. They cut it close again, but they don't lose anything. And that is very solid by them. And they cut it close one more time. I'm surprised nobody made any props for this event, which was a legal thing. They could have made props. Now, what are they going to do over at the water? Are they going to go for like a nosedive and get close to the ground and not hit it? Yes, they do. A very, very good run right there. And that's going to bump them up to round like a 7. So far, they've shown that they have some very good control, but their run's going to come to an end right here. And there it goes. This is the final run of the 2021 Plane Crazy Olympics. This will be the final Plane Crazy Olympics as far as I know. Because unless Rick wants to update his game, and making tournaments like this gets a little bit easier, and it's a little bit easier for me to edit, I don't think I want to put this much effort in for the amount of support that this does get, but it has been relatively fun. We've just had a lot of hiccups of people not showing up and stuff like that, because time zones are a pain in the ass. But he will be the final run. He's driving in a helicopter. That's something you'll notice. Helicopter stunting, not something that's usually advised in real life, but we'll see what happens here, and we're just waiting for him to give me the go-ahead. Alright, we've got the go-ahead, and let's see if he can do anything here. It's going to be interesting to see what a helicopter can do. I mean, he's already flying inverted, but as we've heard, he's in first person, and that is the reason why we're currently not on board with him using a Discord stream. Because the stream, for one, would be kind of laggy due to their internet, but there would also be issues due to their perspective and the way they like to pilot. So let's see what they can do. They're flying right above me right now, trying to do like a little bit of a backflip. It's impressive, but on the other hand, I can also do that, and I could also design a heli to do it myself. So I'm looking for something to really wow me here, and they're gonna have to do something a little bit different. These moves they're putting on are cool, but they're not flashy enough to really win over my heart as far as judging goes. So they're gonna keep trying to go for flips here. I don't know what they're trying to do. Oh, they go for a full vertical in a very huge loop, and they're flying upside down. And can they save it? Yes, they can. Very cool move, but it's not gonna be enough. Right now, I'd probably give them around a 6. They need to do something cool in the last few seconds here as the seconds die down on them. But it's not going to be enough. Alright, so that technically was the last run, but you guys didn't get to see one of the podium finishers, which was, yes sir, from Team Australia. And, I'm not going to tell you what place he got on the podium, but I think you'll be able to tell after watching this run. Alright, time starts now. You have a minute. Alright, well here he goes. He's going to be doing his minute routine here. He's going to have to find a way to try to fill and get as many tricks into a 60-minute period. Oh, and a very good dive right off the bat. Does a full 180, spins right past the edge of the propellers, and so far he's using the propellers as his advantage. Now he's doing barrel rolls, keeps it off the ground. So far, a very impressive run. I'd probably give it around a 7 or 7.5. And he's going back up, and he just has to make sure if he doesn't touch the propellers, but he's getting really close to them. Oh, and he flies through and loses a wing, but he keeps the run together. Solid composure, but I'm definitely going to have to lose him. He's definitely going to lose some points there. Probably around a 7 right now, and he's having control issues. He's halfway through his run. Let's see if he can wow us with any more acrobatics. Oh, and that one, I think that was unintentional, but that actually really helped us score there. I like that little trick he did. Came up and did a full 180 right in front of it and then flew right by. He's definitely having some turning issues, but 10 seconds left, and I'd say he put together a solid run. I mean, a 7.5 is definitely nothing to scoff at. I definitely think someone can put together a very good run compared to this, but there's his time. His time is up, and luckily he did not hit the ground during the time. Alright, so here we have it, the final podium of these Olympics. Well, we'll be seeing the podium in a moment here, as we'll have the leaders or at least the person with the most amount of points from each country is trying to show up, except for Team USA because their main point scorer is not able to attend right now. But as you can see, the final results for these Olympics, Team USA, 17 points, unless after during the editing I came up with something different. Team Australia with 15 points, once again. Maybe I did some different calculations in editing, but can't be sure. And then Team China with 9 points. So we'll be moving on to that bracket here, onto that podium right in a moment. Alright, so here we are at the final podium, and before we actually, do the final goodbyes and everything like that, I just want to point out some little tidbits of information. Team USA and Team Australia both tied for first place today in the water events, but when it came to it in the air events, Team USA didn't have the same amount of luck, and Team Cuba actually won that. But as you can see at the very end, Australia made up a lot of ground on Team USA and almost did enough to beat them. As you can see, third place was well behind, but I see being a team of one individual, and same with Team Australia, almost being able to dethrone Team United States, which was 20 different people all signed up, and they just took the best people and the most active people out of that and put them together on teams. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you guys did, be sure to leave a like on the video. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. This took so much effort into it, more effort than almost any tutorial or any build showcase you can go watch. Actually, I think it's more effort than any of them that have ever been made. So you should definitely subscribe to this channel for actual high-effort original content. Anyways, see you guys next time. Goodbye.